You know, something big is happening in Southeast Asia. Indonesia is dropping billions of dollars on some seriously advanced French fighter jets, and trust me, it's about to redraw the entire security map of the region. Welcome to the Global War Watch Network. Today, we're looking at how these jets are becoming the sharp end of a brand new, much more assertive Indonesian defense strategy. This is a move that could change everything. And hey, before we get into it, if this is the kind of deep analysis you're looking for, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. It really is the best way to support what we do here, and make sure you don't miss what's coming next. Right, so let's get to the heart of it. These 42 Rafales, they're not just another aircraft purchase. They're a strategic counterweight. What we're going to unpack is how Jakarta is planning to use this incredible tech to turn its thousands of scattered islands into a defensive fortress, one that could completely flip the script in the South China Sea. So what's behind this huge investment? Well, it all kicks off with the constant pressure Indonesia is under in its own backyard, especially around the North Natuna Sea. This is what experts call a gray zone challenge. Not quite war, but definitely not peace. And this isn't some niche government issue. It's a national feeling. Just look at this. A whopping 73% of the Indonesian public sees what's happening in the South China Sea as a direct threat. That puts some serious pressure on Jakarta to do something, and do it decisively. And that's exactly what we're seeing, a total shift in strategy. The old way was, ambiguity, try to de-escalate, don't make waves. But under President Prabowo, a former general, that's all out the window. Now it's about assertiveness, and it's not just talk. In his first week in office, Indonesian ships kicked out a Chinese vessel 3 different times. The message is loud and clear. The old playbook is closed for business. Okay, so if you're going to be assertive, you need the muscle to back it up. For Indonesia, that muscle is the Dassault Rafale. And we're not just talking about an upgrade here. This is a genuine generational leap in air power, and it's the new backbone of their entire strategy. And they are not messing around. We are talking about an $8.1 billion deal. Now, the key thing to get here is that this number isn't just for 42 shiny new jets. It's the whole shebang, the advanced weapons, the pilot training, the simulators, the long-term support. They're buying a complete combat capability right out of the box. And the tech inside these Rafale F4s is just a different level. Its AESA radar lets a pilot see and track tons of targets from incredible distances. Then you have the Spectra suite, which is basically an electronic invisibility cloak. It detects and jams enemy radar and missiles, making this jet insanely hard to lock onto. On top of that, it can supercruise, fly faster than sound without chugging fuel on afterburners, so it can stay on patrol over Indonesia's massive territory for way longer. But, a fighter is only as sharp as its teeth, and the Rafale's arsenal is what makes it a real strategic threat. The Meteor missile is the star of the show. It has a ramjet engine, which means unlike other missiles, it doesn't slow down, it just keeps accelerating. That gives Indonesian pilots a massive first-shot, first-kill advantage. Then you add Scalp cruise missiles for hitting targets deep inland, and the legendary Exocet for sinking ships, and suddenly you have one plane that can control the air, the land, and the sea.
But here's the thing. The Rafale isn't meant to work alone. It's really the apex predator in a much bigger interconnected defense system that people are starting to call Indonesia's maritime wall.
This breaks it down really well. You've got 4 layers. Step 1, the Rafales own the sky. Step 2, new Scorpene submarines make it impossible for an enemy to control the water underneath. Step 3, they're building up bases on the Natuna Islands as a fortified front line. And step 4, the glue holding it all together, a new, homegrown tactical data link. Think of it like a secure, private military internet that lets the jets, ships, and ground stations all see the same battlefield in real time. It turns separate pieces into one coordinated fighting force.
And these Natuna Islands are the physical anchor for this whole thing. Indonesia is pouring money into expanding the bases there. And we're not just talking about longer runways. They're putting in long-range rocket systems that can hit ships 300 kilometers away, and stationing squadrons of spy drones that can feed targeting info straight to the Rafales.
Right, and that wall extends underwater too. Indonesia just locked in a deal for 2 super advanced Scorpene submarines. But here's the most important part. These subs are going to be built in Indonesia, with France transferring the technology. This is a massive step for Jakarta's big picture goal of becoming self-reliant in defense.
So when you look at this deep cooperation on jets, on subs, on technology, it's pretty clear this is more than just a simple arms deal. What we're actually seeing is the rise of a new strategic partnership, a real axis between Jakarta and Paris.
So why France?
Well, for Indonesia, it all boils down to this one idea: strategic autonomy. For decades, Indonesia has worked hard to stay non-aligned, to not get pulled into orbit around the big powers. Working with France lets Jakarta get his hands on absolute top-tier military gear without all the political strings that might come with buying from the US, Russia, or China. It's about modernizing, but on their own terms.
Okay, so let's zoom out. A move this big doesn't happen in a bubble. This has the potential to cause some serious ripples, shifting the air-power balance across the entire Indo-Pacific.
And what's really fascinating here is the idea of a Rafale arc starting to form. Think about it. India already flies them. Indonesia is now a huge customer. And there are strong signals that Vietnam is looking at them very closely too. If that happens, you'd have a chain of Rafale operators to the west, south, and southeast of China, creating a whole new strategic reality.
But you have to ask the big question: does this kick off a new arms race in the region? I mean, Indonesia's neighbors aren't exactly sitting on their hands. Singapore is already bringing in F-35s. Australia has a very powerful air force. So while Jakarta's move is a reaction to the current situation, it will absolutely make other countries take a hard look at their own military power.
At the end of the day, buying the Rafale sends a message that is impossible to ignore. For Indonesia, the time for playing it safe and being ambiguous about its maritime rights is officially over. A new era, one of assertive deterrence, backed by serious technology, has just begun. And that's all we have time for today on the Global War Watch Network. It's pretty clear a massive strategic shift is happening right now in one of the most important parts of the world. If you got something out of this analysis, please help us out by hitting those like and share buttons. And of course, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what we're covering next. But now it's your turn. We want to know what you think. Does the Rafale turn Indonesia into a real regional powerhouse? Is a new arms race unavoidable? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and come join the conversation on our social media channels. All the links are right there in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next.